Okay, we are live. I'm trying out a new thing, like a new streaming setup. So we'll see how this works. But there's also a way for people to call into the show. So if you want to call in, you just have to click this link. I know there's probably no one even here yet, but I think if I do that, yeah. Anyway, we'll start the stream and see what happens here. Again, I don't even know how this is working. I'm going to actually put it over here so I can just see this. Yeah, my little box in the corner is kind of small. I don't really like that, but whatever. I'll just leave it like that for now.
Mark Carney. The ability to remain calm. Mark, should I read yours? Hi, everyone. It's a great honor for me to introduce Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, along with Gideon Rockman from the Financial Times. Much of the dialogue over the next few days will focus on where the puck is going. You like that, Mark? Okay. Where the puck is going next in the global economy, which makes this a fitting moment to introduce a former hockey player, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. The ability to remain calm in fast-moving, high-pressure moments has defined Mark's career. In 2008, he led the Bank of Canada and helped steer his economy through the worst market turmoil in all our lives, in our generation. In the aftermath of Brexit, he became the first non-Brit to serve as a governor of the Bank of England. And last year, he was elected very deservingly as Prime Minister for Canada at what may be one of the most pivotal moments in modern Canadian history. Today, Prime Minister Carney is focused on making Canada a place where it's easier to build, simpler to trade, smarter to invest in, and build more unity across its nation. For 41 million Canadians, the world's 10th largest economy, he is a steady and thoughtful leader, and I am proud to call him a friend. Please join me in welcoming Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
So this speech is like porn for the elbows up crowd. This is just an incredible speech here from Carney.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'm going to start in French and then I'll switch back to English. Merci, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
C'est un plaisir.
It is both a pleasure
et un devoir
and a duty
d'être parmi vous
to be with you
en
tonight
ce point
in this
pour le Canada
pivotal
et pour le
moment
monde.
that Canada and the world go
Et je
through.
parlerai aujourd'hui de la
Today I will
rupture de
talk
l'ordre
about a
mondial,
rupture in the world
de
order,
la fin
the
d'une
end
fiction
of
agréable
a
et
pleasant
du
fiction
début
and the
d'une
beginning
réalité
of a
brutale.
harsh
Où la
reality,
géopolitique
where
des grandes
geopolitics,
puissances
where
n'est
the
soumise à
large
aucune
main power
contrainte.
geopolitics is submitted to no
Mais je vous
limits, no
soumets,
constraints.
par ailleurs, que les autres
On the other
pays,
hand, I would like to
en particulier
tell
les
you that the other
puissances
countries,
moyennes comme le
especially
Canada, ne sont
intermediate
pas
powers like
impuissants.
Canada, are not powerless.
Ils possèdent la capacité de
They
construire
have
une
the
nouvelle
capacity
ordre
to
qui
build a new
intègre
order
nos
that
valeurs,
encompasses our
comme
values,
le respect des droits
such as
humains,
respect for human
le
rights,
développement
sustainable
durable, la
development, solidarity,
la souveraineté
sovereignty,
et l'intégrité
and territorial
territoriale des
integrity
États.
of the various states.
La puissance des moins
The
puissants
power of the less power
commence par l'honnêteté.
with honesty.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't. So what are our options?
This entire stream pretty much is a subtle dig at Trump and the USA.
In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with a greengrocer. Every morning, this shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite." He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance.
Hey, Joel, how is the stream for quality? I'm trying a whole new thing here. Like, how do I sound relative to the stream? Does it seem similar to the other one, or is it worse, or?
To get along. And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. If you want to call in, Joel, yeah, no, I can do that now, which is cool, but I'm going to keep kind of playing around with this because at least this setup, there's the option to call in. So I want to do this especially when I talk about like the Alberta independence thing, just to hear some perspectives. But if someone wants to click that link, they can call into the show. You don't have to show your camera or anything, but I mean, you can if you want, I guess. But again, I don't exactly know how it works, but I think you basically click on that. You don't have to sign up or anything, like for an account, and then you go into like a private room or something, and then I kind of like allow you to come on screen. So if anyone wants to at any time come on stream and talk about Carney or Canada or whatever, just feel free to click that link. Excuse me.
Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack. Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. For decades.
Try to play that again because this entire speech almost is an anti-Trump speech.
Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack. Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. For decades. For decades, countries like Canada prospered under what we called the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of that, we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful, and American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So
Yeah, and it allowed countries like Canada to rely heavily on just the graces of America for military support, even for economic support, just to trade into the American market with the strong consumer, while countries like Canada and other European countries for sure went wildly on the net zero crap, on diversity, equity, inclusion, on all these other goals that were not about economic dominance. And then America just like protected everybody and also trade. Companies rather just traded into America. So Canada and a whole bunch of European countries got so comfortable just with America pulling the rope economically and certainly militarily.
we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals, and we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chain.
Yeah, I haven't looked into his entire dealings with Brookfield. I know Moose on the Loose has been following that pretty closely, which is pretty interesting. I'd have to take more of a look at that, to be honest, but it's definitely something to track. I mean, it is a part of Carney's history for sure.
As vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination. The multilateral institutions on which the middle powers have relied, the WTO, the UN, the COP, the architecture, the very architecture of collective problem solving are under threat. And as a result, many countries are drawing the same conclusions, that they must develop greater strategic autonomy in energy, food, critical minerals, in finance and supply chains. And this impulse is understandable. A country that can't feed itself, fuel itself, or defend itself has few options. When the rules no longer protect you, you must protect yourself. But let's be clear-eyed about where this leads. A world of fortresses will be poorer, more fragile, and less sustainable. And there's another truth. If great powers abandon even the pretense of rules and values for the unhindered pursuit of their power and interests, the gains from transactionalism will become harder to replicate. Hegemons cannot continually monetize their relationships. Allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty. They'll buy insurance, increase options in order to rebuild sovereignty. Sovereignty that was once grounded in rules, but will increasingly be anchored in the ability to withstand pressure. This room knows this is classic risk management. Risk management comes at a price. But that cost of strategic autonomy, of sovereignty, can also be shared. Collective investments in resilience are cheaper than everyone building their own fortresses. Shared standards reduce fragmentations. Complementarities are positive sum. And the question for middle powers like Canada is not whether to adapt to the new reality. We must. The question is whether we adapt by simply building higher walls or whether we can do something more ambitious. Now, Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. Canadians know that our old comfortable assumptions that our geography and alliance memberships automatically conferred prosperity and security.
The entire speech, he's clearly talking about America and Trump in this. It's not, I don't even think it's that subtle. He's trying to get the majority to repeal the Law on Gas and Pollution Act. What if he got the big three in Brookfield and he's just paying them all back? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but this whole speech, though, I think is very dark. A lot of liberals I saw online just clapping like seals after this was done.
That assumption is no longer valid. And our new approach rests on what Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, has termed value-based realism. Or to put another way, we aim to be both principled and pragmatic. Principled in our commitment to fundamental values, sovereignty, territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force except when consistent with the UN Charter, and respect for human rights. And pragmatic in recognizing that progress is often incremental, that interests diverge, that not every partner will share all of our values. So we're engaging broadly, strategically, with open eyes. We actively take on the world as it is, not wait around for a world we wish to be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing broad engagement to maximize our influence, given the fluidity of the world at the moment, the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next. And we are no longer just relying on the strength of our values, but also the value of our strength. We are building that strength at home. Since my government took office, we have cut taxes on incomes, on capital gains, and business investment. We have removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. We are fast-tracking $1 trillion of investments in energy, AI, critical minerals, new trade corridors, and beyond. We're doubling our defense spending by the end of this decade, and we're doing so in ways that build our domestic industries. And we are rapidly diversifying abroad. We've agreed a comprehensive strategic partnership with the EU, including joining SAFE, the European Defence Procurement Arrangements. We have signed 12 other trade and security deals on 4 continents in 6 months. The past few days, we've concluded new strategic partnerships with China and Qatar. We're negotiating free trade pacts with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, and Mercosur. We're doing something else. To help solve global problems, we're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions for different issues based on common values and interests. So on Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security. On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
The thing is, this entire speech is actually very bold. I really think a Canadian leader could make a speech like this, just in the other direction, in support of America. But Carney's going the exact opposite direction in this speech. I think it even gets more bold as we continue on here, just in his posture, implying for sure that he doesn't think America is doing the right thing.
Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. So we're working with our NATO allies, including the Nordic-Baltic 8, to further secure the alliance's northern and western flanks, including through Canada's unprecedented investments in over-the-horizon radar, in submarines, in aircraft, and boots on the ground, boots on the ice. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic. On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc of 1.5 billion people. On critical minerals, we're forming buyers clubs anchored in the G7 so that the world can diversify away from concentrated supply. And on AI, we're cooperating with like-minded democracies to ensure that we won't ultimately be forced to choose between hegemons and hyperscalers. This is not naive multilateralism, nor is it relying on their institutions. It's building coalitions that work, issues by issue, with partners who share enough common ground to act together. In some cases, this will be the vast majority of nations. What it's doing is creating a dense web of connections across trade, investment, culture, on which we can draw for future challenges and opportunities. Argue that middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination. In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice: compete with each other for favor, or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain strong if we choose to wield them together. Which brings me back to Havel.
Yeah, again, this entire speech is basically anti-US. He's not really saying that explicitly, but everybody knows in the room and watching, that's what he's talking about. Hey, D2C, it's going good, man. It's going good. If you want to, you don't have to, obviously, you can call into the stream now. I'm trying out some new stuff. So if you want to call in, you can just come say hi, talk about whatever. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but because I kind of want to, I want someone to do that just to see how it works. I don't even know how this works. I'm trying this new StreamYard platform. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it, but it just seemed like the easiest way to get set up to have calls. So it'll be cool, especially when I talk about the Alberta independence, I think, because I think that's a subject that people have hopefully like strong points of view on.
What does it mean for middle powers to live the truth? Well, first, it means naming reality. Stop invoking rules-based international order as though it still functions as advertised. Call it what it is: a system of intensifying great power rivalry where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion. It means acting consistently, applying the same standards to allies and rivals. When middle powers criticize economic intimidation from one direction but stay silent when it comes from another, we are keeping the sign in the window. It means building what we claim to believe in. Rather than waiting for the old order to be restored, it means creating institutions and agreements that function as described. And it means reducing the leverage that enables coercion. That's building a strong domestic economy. It should be.
I'm just playing around here with what I mean, this is way too big. There's only really two options, I think, on these. See, what is this one? Maybe this one's a little bit better. I don't know. I don't mind that. That's not bad. But I feel like if I'm on this view here, my face, I'm just so tiny on the screen that it's just, I don't like that. I don't know why. It makes me look like I'm just an ant. I wish there was a better view here where I could be a little bit bigger. But yeah, I think this one's not bad. Maybe I'll do this one for a little bit, although there's a whole bunch of screen there not being used now. So anyway,
every government's immediate priority.
maybe I'll switch back from
And diversification internationally is not just economic prudence, it's a material foundation for honest foreign policy, because countries earn the right to principled stands by reducing their vulnerability to retaliation. So Canada.
Can you still hear me when I'm in this one? Even though I'm not on screen, can you still hear my mic coming through?
Canada has what the world wants. We are an energy superpower. We hold vast reserves of critical minerals. We have the most educated population in the world. Our pension funds are amongst the world's largest and most
Thanks, Joel.
sophisticated investors. In other words, we have capital, talent. We also have a government with immense fiscal capacity.
Yeah, but the best play for all those pension funds would have been just to invest in America over the last 10 years for sure. So it's kind of interesting. Like if they really did perform well, they would have been overweight America and underweight Canada.
To act decisively. And we have the values to which many others aspire. Canada is a pluralistic society that works. Our public square is loud, diverse, and free. Canadians remain committed to sustainability. We are a stable and reliable partner in a world that is anything but. A partner that builds and values relationships for the long term. And we have something else. We have a recognition of what's happening and a determination to act accordingly. We understand that this rupture calls for more than adaptation. It calls for honesty about the world as it is.
I mean, what do I think? I've talked about this a little bit in the past. I think making a deal with China is fine. Like you have to deal with countries that are in the world. There's only China's the second biggest market on earth, and I'm fine with like selling them canola. The problem is going to be for sure how intertwined you get. So I feel like Canada should be competent enough to deal with China and not like basically have them spying on us. Yeah, if we're not competent enough to do that, we have obviously major problems, but I think it's fine to trade with them. You're just going to have to be aware that like if you bring in Chinese cars, you better inspect them very closely so that they're not being used in a nefarious way, because I think all these countries are going to act in their self-interest and pretty much try to get away with whatever they can. But I mean, China definitely exists, so there's a benefit for sure with trading with them. Everything is starting to feel so scripted. We are being set up and played. This is actually getting very interesting now. I think a lot of this, though, is the fault of how badly Trudeau screwed up the country. And we're now in this very defensive position. And I mean, I think America's lost a lot of respect for us. I don't think America really considers us a great ally or a great even economic engine anymore.
We are taking the sign up.
We're not nothing. Like we still have a decent economy relative to other countries, but I definitely think Trudeau has put us in this crazy position where we don't have the leverage we used to, and we don't have the strong relationship with America, obviously.
It is. We are taking the sign out of the window. We know the old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy.
See, like, this is a very bold speech. I think a Canadian leader could give a speech like this, but in support of America. That would be bold as well, but this is clearly the other direction. This is actually a very dark, negative speech, I think, by Carney. This is by far the most negative I've seen him. It sounds like he's trying to intentionally be bold and like lay a stake in the ground. We're here and America's there. That's very scary.
But we believe that from the fracture, we can build something bigger, better, stronger, more just. This is the task of the middle powers. the countries that have the most to lose from a world of fortresses and a most to gain from genuine cooperation. The powerful have their power. But we have something too. The capacity to stop pretending, to name reality, to build our strength at home, and to act together. That is Canada's path. We choose it openly and confidently, and it is a path wide open to any country willing to take it with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, I think that speech was actually very dark. Then there's about a 10-minute interview portion here.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. I don't think I've seen many standing ovations at Davos, so that was interesting. You said there was a phrase in your speech where you said sovereignty now is the ability.
Ford might have been justified. Ford just cannot be the person. I think Ford contributed, though, for sure, to the very environment he's now complaining about. He ran those ads in America, and even Carney had to apologize to Trump. So in that case, Ford was even being more extreme than Carney for sure. So I don't know what Ford expects when he does that. Now he goes on, oh, it ticks off the Americans. Like, yeah, so the point about being bipolar, I hear you. But I don't know what the heck Ford thought was going to happen with all that talk. Like, does he think that Canada is just going to trade with itself and prosper? Like, we're not obviously big enough to even come close to doing that.
To withstand pressure. Isn't Canada almost uniquely vulnerable to pressure because of the extent of your trade dependence on the United States?
Well,
good question. 62% of the trade goes to USA, and it's like 8 to China. We looked that up the other day.
the proof is that we have been able to withstand the pressure, and there has been considerable pressure. I'll give you a couple of facts. We've actually created more jobs since the tariffs were put on than the United States in absolute number. Economy is growing at the second fastest rate within the G7. That's not there. There are pockets of extreme pressure without question in Canada. But headline, we're reacting. The second thing, and it's a fundamental point, is the recognition that we can give ourselves far more than any foreign.
Does the stream quality D2C and Joel, does it seem similar? Like, do you notice a difference between the other ones? Because I'm playing it in the background here on my TV, and it looks like a little laggy, but maybe it's not because I don't have the volume on. Maybe it just, does it seem the same as the other ones, if you could say that? It's about the same. Okay, that's good to know.
Country can take away. There's lots of efficiencies in having one Canadian market, the $1 trillion of domestic investment, and building these partnerships abroad, all of which are bigger returns than what's being.
Do you like this format where I can just put one, where I just click one and then the chat goes on the stream? I like the ability to be able to click one of the chats, but this StreamYard thing, if I want to like get that logo away, your voice is a little louder when you interject. Okay, is it too loud or is it fine? Because I kind of have two voices. For streaming, I should probably talk more like this. But, oh, audio sounds clear. Okay, thank you. That's good. But I try to play around with the settings. So I think there's a setting on here that sort of automatically, it says, adjust the microphone volume, which is kind of good because, I mean, if it works, that's great. But sometimes I run into problems on the other stream, I think, because when I make a YouTube video, I shout into the mic because I think it's important for YouTube engagement. But if I'm just streaming like this, see, like now I'm talking more quietly, you actually get really tired when you keep talking like that. So I've got to kind of find the sweet spot of, there's definitely a different voice when you're streaming versus when you're making a YouTube video. Because if I talk like this in a YouTube video, I don't think it works. People are just going to click away because it's a little bit too chill. But in a stream, I think it works. because it's just a whole different thing. Audio is great, just the video goes lower. The video goes okay. So if I talk like this and I play the video, is it similar or is it
Lost. That's not to say we would rather not lose it, but we can withstand the pressure, and we are.
I was interested that you said basically the old world's not coming back. So you're not seeing this as a period where you just have to get through and normalcy will return.
I think that is our view. And we regret it, but we're not going to sit around and mourn it. We're acting. And we're acting in a way both.
okay? Thank you, Joel. Maybe I will I'll keep playing with that.
It's in our interests, but we believe in a way with others that's building imperfectly in steps a new system. I'll give you one example and hand back, which is we are members of trade agreements that comprise already 1.4 billion people around the world. So we have the most extensive network. We are trying with others to bring some of those networks together. The most prominent example is the Trans-Pacific Partnership in the EU, acting of a bridge. It's not a direct benefit for Canada, but it is a benefit for Canada that these groups come together. And Ngozi is here, consistent with the WTO rules, both of which are. And in that way, we're building back out amongst willing partners.
And you talked about the need not to put the sign in the window.
This guy needs some new boots. What's this, the World Economic Forum? I thought you were all there supposed to be real rich. These boots look like he's been wearing them for 5 years.
Anymore to pretend that things are still the same. Do you think, to put it directly, that the NATO alliance is still doing that, still pretending it's the old transatlantic partnership when it's really kind of going?
Well, I think clearly NATO is experiencing a test right now. And the first response to that test has to be to respond in a way that ensures the security of the Arctic in a robust way for all possibilities. This is actually a point that we have been making in recent years. It's a point that I made at the NATO summit back in June, which seemed like a pledging summit, but also was to get.
Yeah, I'm going to go live after this. There's a few videos recently on the Alberta independence thing. I saw two. They're trying to say, I saw a headline, Alberta independence, is it helping Trump? So that might be the angle that the mainstream media tries to shame the Alberta independence thing. Oh, you're a bunch of Trumpers. You're helping Trump. We will see. I would argue that the people that are opposed to the pipeline are actually helping the Alberta independence movement. Like, to everyone across the entire country who doesn't want the pipeline, well, I think that definitely strengthens the argument for Alberta to leave Canada. You want to cry about the pipeline, the environmentalism, maybe you shouldn't have Alberta, the oil and gas superpower. That logically, that makes sense to me. If you think that the pipeline is so bad, well, then obviously you don't really care about oil and gas. So maybe just exist on hydroelectric gas and tech companies that out in Ontario and Quebec.
NATO policies in the right direction. So I think in the immediate term, one of the imperatives is to reinforce things that Canada is doing, Nordic Baltic 8 are doing, the UK are doing, other NATO partners, France included, in a comprehensive way.
Yeah, but at least Carney's not fat. I think well, not Doug Ford, but I mean, I could lose a little bit of weight, but even Trudeau, like, that's probably the one good thing about Trudeau is he was in good shape. That's like, it's so hard to find something nice to say about Trudeau, but Trudeau was at this economic forum. And then Poilievre is, like, for a politician, pretty jacked. World Economic Forum. Yeah, Trudeau was there apparently with Katy Perry. I don't know why Trudeau would even show up.
Way that provides much greater security in the Arctic. This is the test, and so I wouldn't say the NATO sign stays in the window, but we've got to meet the moment of that.
You also, a big theme of your speech was the need for middle powers to work together. Yeah. But you've just been to the other great power, to China.
that's my goal today, is to try to get, I think on the Alberta independence thing, I'll get someone to call in. I want to get someone to call in to the stream, because I want to do that moving forward on this stream. That'll be fun. Have calls. I don't think anyone really does that in Canada that I am aware of, like not on a regular basis. I think that'd be fun to have some debates. If people want to, I'm fine with that, but more so just kind of sharing your thoughts.
And I think people are very intrigued by seeing that meeting. And some people say, kind of, that's a mistake, really, because you're going to make yourself more dependent on China. They're not that benign either. The US will be very annoyed. What's the defense of what you're doing?
I mean, the US is going to be annoyed by the speech he just gave. Are you kidding me? The entire speech was dumping on the US's policy. It's so stupid.
To get out of it.
Well,
again, that speech, I said this right at the beginning, but I don't think anyone was here yet. That speech he gave was porn for the elbows up liberals. They would be watching that. They'd be so happy. It was the most, elbows up speech he's given, I think. Campaigning.
It's building out. It's something positive as opposed to against. We're forced.
I don't care, Joel. I'll be nice. It doesn't matter. It was a great, a lot of American channels do that, which I think it's I enjoy that. It's a fun concept.
Something as opposed to being against. The second is, there are very clear guardrails in that relationship. I spoke of calibration of relationships in my remarks. That's what I mean by it. But within those clear guardrails are huge opportunities in energy, both clean and conventional, obviously in motor vehicles, in agriculture, in financial services, all of which is mutually beneficial. So it's additive. And look, it's the second largest economy and it's our second largest trading partner. We should have a strategic partnership with them within those guardrails, and that's what we've achieved.
And it is an interesting reversal, though, because I think certainly during the Biden administration, there was this sense that the Western world was trying to decouple from China, or de-risk at least, and is now in this new world that really going to go into reverse. And
the other thing that's kind of cool about
de-risking from China, because there are other risks, is less of a thing.
You need, again, many in this room, this is their livelihood, you need a web of connections. And to miss out in that web some of the largest ones, United States, we already have that, China, India, Mercosur, European Union, that's a mistake. That's not managing your relationships properly. That makes you stronger, makes you more resilient. And then on top of that, I'll give you again, I'll appeal, since it's in the headlines, to the Nordics. Nordics plus Canada, it's 20% of global GDP. It's not the first thing people would realize, but that relationship, which is deepening for security reasons, because we're like-minded, those are the types of partnerships that I think we'll see more of.
And you got a round of applause when you said something strong about standing on principle on Greenland. Do you think we can find an off-ramp on that? I mean, I'm sure you'll speak of it, but put it this way, if there isn't an off-ramp, where does this go?
I strongly believe that there's a better outcome that come from the discussion.
What do you mean, Joel? Do I have to be live to take calls? Is that what you mean? Because if that's your question, because that's like the point of it. There's no point if it's I see what you mean, like for a YouTube video or something. I guess I could do that, but it's way better live, so I'll just do it live. Plus, I want to test the live thing. If I'm doing it off live, it's a lot of work, and then you got to go edit it, and you got to blah blah blah. It's just to try it out. I hear you. I think. Well, I want to try it live, because I do want to do the test. I don't even know how to test it, not live. But I don't even think if you're not live, if I test it, you're almost not even getting the full experience anyway. So it's almost like a waste of time in a sense. You get like maybe a little bit of the data, but he screwed up the Bank of England. Carney. When was Carney even?
That have been catalyzed in an unusual way, admittedly, but and we absolutely stand by the principles that I referenced. That solution starts with security, and a security, yes, of Greenland, but more broadly of the Arctic.
Yeah, Carney was the BOE governor during Brexit. Wow.
Canada is foursquare contributing to that. We're at the start of a major ramp up above and beyond, so we'll be a major contributor to that. NATO has to deliver on that. We're working intensively in order to do it. As well, prosperity for the people of Greenland. This, in the end, it comes back to the people there, and there are opportunities to do that in ways that would strengthen all of the alliance.
And when President Trump says, oh, you know, Greenland's under threat from Russia, even from China, is that for real?
I would say that there are threat. Russia is without question a threat in the Arctic, without question. Russia does lots of horrible things, and will take the opportunity to condemn their unjustified and horrific assault on Ukraine, almost at its fourth year. They are a real threat in the Arctic, one against we need to protect, which is why we have 364 5-day air, sea, and land presence. It's why we're adding to our submarine fleet, adding to our air fighter fleet, why we're building out over-the-horizon radar to protect from Russian missile threats and others, and why we will work with our NATO partners. The threat is more perspective than actual at this stage in terms of actual activity in the Arctic, and we intend to keep it that way.
Another big issue that's going to come up this week is this board of peace that President Trump is keen on. I'm not sure whether it's for Gaza or for the entire world, but apparently Canada's been invited.
Yeah, there's this board of peace thing. I got to read up on that a little bit. I haven't looked into that very much, but it's obviously a new idea from Trump.
Are you going to join?
We have been invited, and let me start by, I think we should recognize the progress that has been made in at least getting towards the end of the first phase of this process, and the activation, if I can put it that way, of the process to set up the Board of Peace is the start of phase 2. Our view is, and that's to be welcomed, and this is a positive vehicle. Our view is we need to work on the actual structure of the vehicle. You just referenced, is it for Gaza? Well, the UN resolution, Security Council Resolution 2803, references a Board of Peace for Gaza. That's where we see it becoming immediately operative, and it needs to be, in our view, it's better to be designed in that way for the immediate needs there. There are many other needs around the world, first point. Second point, it needs to coincide with the immediate full flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. We are still not where we need to be. Conditions still are horrific. So that needs to come alongside. We think there's aspects of the governance and the decision-making process that could be improved, but we will work with others, obviously work with the United States, because we can to improve the situation, the horrific situation there, and to move onto a path to a true two-state solution.
There's a suggestion you can get permanent membership of the Board of Peace by ponying up $1 billion. You going to write a check for that?
We would write checks and deliver in kind to improve the welfare of the people of Palestine. But we want to see it delivered direct to those outcomes promoting peace, and so the mechanics and how it works that way.
Okay, final question. President Trump and a lot of people who agree with him condemn globalism a lot. And I suspect, you would be the kind of epitome of a globalist. You worked for Goldman Sachs, I believe. You were a central banker. You're comfortable and lived in several countries. Is globalism, first of all, is it a thing, and is it over?
I think, well, look, understanding how the world works, having appreciation for other cultures, understanding the connections, and being able to, or at least appreciating ways that how we connect, whether it's through technology, trade, investment, culture, can enrich our lives. And That's a good thing, and it also help solve problems. Being detached from where you live and the broader needs of society, there is an epithet for that. I don't know that the G word is the one. There's certainly what we're finding, to go back to the points I was making, is that there are a number of like-minded countries that want to work through partnership to achieve those goals for their citizens and for the world more broadly. The call is for more to recognize what's really going on right now, and to pool their resources to the benefit of citizens. So it won't be global, it won't cover the globe, but it will be more powerful.
Okay, Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, interesting stuff there. I'm gonna see what if I go here, if it stays. Yeah, you can just see my screen normally, I guess. I'm just gonna go. I'll take a look at some of the Trudeau stuff, but I'll end the stream in a few minutes and then go back live not too much longer after and talk about Alberta independence.
Trudeau and Katy Perry have taken their relationship up a notch with a little trip to the World Economic Forum. So
why? That makes no sense. Why Justin Trudeau? Like, he's obviously just trying to impress Katy Perry, right? What's he doing? No one cares what he thinks.
Trudeau was in Davos speaking. Oh, sorry.
One of the strongest ways of telling whether an economy is doing well or not is consumer confidence.
Man, he has no consumer confidence. He spoke. He probably set this up by himself and paid for it. Paid these people to come watch. What is he speaking to? 10 people?
Trudeau was in Davos speaking about the importance of Canada's soft power, and Katy was in the front row looking very supportive. So what's your reaction to see Katy at Davos?
You guys like it, indifferent? Okay. This is the funniest flex of all time. This is very much divorced guy energy, which is, I'm going to go back. It's like my high school reunion. I'm going to go back with my hot pop star girlfriend. Yeah. Because I don't know if you know, but the Davos meetings are just a bunch of nerds and policymakers who are out there hanging out.
Yeah, and rich people. So it's kind of cool, actually, as a flex. Like, obviously, a lot of people that are very globalist, very questionable philosophy, but man, I don't know. I don't believe anyone really at Davos would care at all what Trudeau thinks. He is just a laughing stock. I think that one's kind of cool. Whoops. Did that change anything? No.
And all of a sudden, you're going to throw Katy Perry into the mix. No meetings are going to happen after that. Do you understand? All these people are going to be crowding around you. This is just being like, listen, I know you guys thought I was sad when I was divorced, but look at me coming back stronger. And also, talk about soft power. If you're truly about kind of soft power, we should abandon and sort of when they say like, okay, we're not bringing any sort of American goods of any kind, we should also not date Americans during a trade war, is what I'm saying. So if Justin Trudeau is really, truly Canadian
that's actually funny.
at heart,
If he's a true patriot.
find a Canadian pop star.
Okay.
What I'm saying.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Nice
I did
Canadian
find this
person.
whole thing a bit cringe. I keep going back and forth. I'm like really happy for him.
Yeah.
And he seems to be super happy. And then I kind of like go, oh, did you need to do it that way? Because this could have been a thing where it was a little bit less out there. He's talking about soft diplomacy. And so in his speech, he referenced a date with an American girl at a rooftop bar in Montreal. Guess who it is, right? Like she's sitting right there, just say it. Then he went on to say, this is the story he tells, okay? She ordered a Jack and Coke and the server kindly informed her that there was no more American alcohol, not just in that bar, but anywhere in Montreal or anywhere in this country. And this was his example that he gave, which also to your point is like, again, like he's dating this American girl.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
Why
a
do
little
you think
bit.
it bugs it bugs me too? But why? Like, is it because she's a pop star? Was it
It actually bugs these people. Oh my gosh. This is derangement.
Because in
Who
one
gives a shit?
photo she was wearing sunglasses, and that urged me. Is it because Davos, has this reputation of being like this powerful place where titans of industry and political leaders gather? You know what I mean?
But a lot of
Yeah.
celebrities go there too. They do.
I think that's the inconvenient truth.
She's-
I've got an outdated notion of Davos.
Yeah, no, she is the new Meghan Markle. You know how people they're a very polarizing couple, and people either love Meghan or they hate her. I feel like it's the same energy with Katie and Justin, where people have a very strong opinion, but if you ask them, well, why do you dislike her so much? They can't really give you a concrete answer as to what, and then they make a mountain out of something very small that she does. They're like, yeah, but she wore glasses. And there was like a window and the sun was there and she had her glasses on. And it's like, what are we discussing? I will say this much. I'm here for their relationship. I think maybe because typically in the celebrity world, when people are dating, the men do not bring the girls out in public, not until they are official. If you think about Benicio del Toro, Leonardo DiCaprio, all of these men. So I think we're accustomed to people hiding their newer relationships. And maybe because Justin's like, you know what, I'm bringing her, we're kind of like, well, isn't it too soon? Who are we to say what's too soon? As long as they enjoy themselves, I say we continue to leave them alone. And let's not forget, she's not.
We continue to leave them alone. You're doing a news segment on them. Is that leaving them alone? Does anyone remember hearing something about the? Yeah, I remember this. It wasn't 30 years ago I heard about this, but I have. The idea for a currency. Yeah, I do remember that. The Amero. I've never heard of the Amero. Bush would have been active. Good point, because that's Bush, right? Winolder Bush. I'll put I'll try to find the Trudeau speech.
Not in a room that she hasn't been in before. She's very good friends with the Bezos, Jeff, and his wife. She was at that wedding. So I'm sure some of those people at Davos, she also saw them at the wedding a couple months ago.
I have a feeling that Davos asked her, like David Beckham was also there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want that celebrity.
Brooklyn wasn't.
Yeah.
No. Brooklyn will never.
I'm going to give the last word to you, Arthur. You're just a wonderful human.
Well, thank you.
You know what? Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Is this, I wonder if this is even going to be on. Like, look at this. Look at this clown. Justin Trudeau tells Davos to put women first. What an idiot. That actually is so insane. Just let's like, this guy is the most divisive person I've ever, I don't know him, but in public life, tells Davos to put women first. What an idiot. Let's get everyone to hate each other. That might as well be the topic of that speech. Oh man, Melanie Jolie was on a panel. I'd like to hear that. She speaks in sound bites. I don't know. I don't see the speech on here. These are really 11-second video. I don't know. 47-second. The speech I don't think is on YouTube.
Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke at the summit today. His girlfriend,
But like to who? To 5 people and Katy Perry?
Star Katy Perry was there in the front row. Trudeau spoke about the importance of investing in people to build confidence and resilience.
Man. Holy, this guy.
That C-Series jet is now part of Airbus' fleet. Canada is now the 5th official Airbus partner country.
Okay, this is the room. 100 people, maybe? This looks like a small wedding. 80 people?
Our expertise in aerospace was not lost, and that is incredibly important.
I would bet a lot of them are there because Katy Perry's there. Just so they can be like, oh, I saw Katy Perry today. That's pretty cool. Oh man, he is so funny. Trump has been saying for years the borders are just lines on a map. The Gulf of America. And he also said today, I think as a joke, he said the Gulf of Trump. Bravo. If Alberta breaks off and the rest of Canada could fracture so bad, America just takes the whole thing. I don't know, man. Okay, I'm going to finish there, though. I'm going to end the stream, but I'll go live probably not too long from now.
Now we have Ambassador Uma Aya, the case permanent representative of the United States.
Okay, see you all later. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Hopefully see you in the next stream.